Hey guys, Eric Hovind here from creationtoday.org. I'm at the North Pole. North Pole, Alaska, that is. They've got Santa Claus here and everything. Santa's house is right back there. I noticed something interesting when I got here. There's no atheists out picketing against Santa Claus. I mean, think of the psychological damage that's done when those little kids write their letter to the North Pole and Santa doesn't really answer because he's not really there. And the atheists that are so upset about what religion is doing to young minds are not out here protesting Santa Claus. Now, I don't mind you protesting a lot of other religions, but when you protest the truth of Christianity, which tells people that they are made in the image of God, that they do have a purpose, and they will be held accountable for the way they live their lives, my friend, if you want to protest that and you're not protesting this, you are a hypocrite.
Hovind is at it again. But I'm gonna keep calm. It seems legit. Season's greetings, everyone. My name is Brendan. I am the prototype atheist, and this time I'm going to be discussing Santa Claus. Now, as you may already be aware, David Silverman's outfit, American Atheist, has erected several billboards across the United States in places such as Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, and Wisconsin. These billboards feature a young girl writing a letter to Santa that says, "Dear Santa, all I want for Christmas is to skip church. I'm too old for fairy tales." Of course, the message is meant to be intentionally ironic that a girl who doesn't believe in fairy tales is writing a letter to Santa Claus, but this has flown right over the heads of most of the Christians reacting to the message. See, the entire point being made here is that God and Santa Claus are both fictional. Not only that, but they have quite a few things in common. They are both older, bearded men who can see your every move and will reward you for behaving. God will allow you entry into heaven when you die, and Santa will bring you gifts. On the other hand, if you don't behave, Santa might bring you a lump of coal or not bring anything at all. God will watch as you're sent to an eternity of torture in hell. Some cultures even have a nefarious Christmas time character like the Krampus, who kidnaps children who don't behave. This is analogous to Satan in Christian lore. Santa Claus is known by various names around the world, including Papa Noel, Père Noel, Babbo Natale, Grandfather Frost, Christmas Gnome, Old Man Christmas, and many others. There are even a variety of names for this figure within a single culture. In the United States, for example, Santa Claus may also be referred to as St. Nicholas or Kris Kringle. Similarly, there are different names for the Abrahamic deity across the world, be it Yahweh, Jesus Christ, Allah, or others, and there are even numerous different names within the Bible for the same God, such as Jehovah, Adonai, El, or the Lord. Also, the God of the Bible is essentially an amalgamation of various other gods and myths, and Santa Claus has a similar origin. The figure as commonly recognized today in the United States has roots in paganism, in Dutch and Scandinavian folklore, as well as Norse mythology and some Christian influence. For example, Santa using reindeer to fly through the sky is an adaptation of Odin's nightly Yuletide rides on his gray horse. Now, the point that I want to make here is that Christians can readily admit that Santa Claus is a fictional character, and they have no problem recognizing the various cultural traditions which gave rise to it. They also have no problem when their children arrive at the conclusion that Santa Claus isn't real. In fact, I'm sure that if their child was getting too old and still believed that Santa existed, they'd break the news to them so that they would help them leave such a childish thing behind. However, if their child were to arrive at the same conclusion that God doesn't exist, they'd almost certainly be upset and try to plead with the child to reconsider and persuade them that a God does exist. In some cases, the parents might even disown their child or take punitive action against them. It's a testament to the power of indoctrination that such people cannot recognize the parallels between their God belief and belief in Santa Claus. Now, I will readily admit that using Santa Claus as an argument for why God doesn't exist, or as an example of fulfilling the burden of proof, isn't some devastating blow to Christianity or Judaism or Islam. However, it is a valid argument. A few months back, I stumbled across a blog entry by Laird, which I'll link to below in the description. He claims that using Santa Claus as an analogy for God's existence is an argument only used by less sophisticated thinkers. In support of his position, he makes claims such as adults have never seriously believed in Santa's existence, but many people have died professing their belief in God. It's historically undeniable that people who knew and talked to Jesus Christ were willing to die rather than give up their belief that he was God. He also says it is irrelevant that parents teach their children about God because most atheists arrive at their position after being exposed to older adults, such as in college, and that many intelligent theists have arrived at their position in adulthood. But nobody starts believing in Santa as an adult. Also, he said that when kids ask questions about Santa, parents use quote-unquote magic to explain how he operates, and that this hides Santa Claus, but miracles aren't magic attributed to God, they are proof of his existence. Now, as we might expect, he's nitpicking a simple analogy while completely ignoring the larger point being made. Just because people seriously believe in God, that doesn't mean that one exists. Just because some people become theists in adulthood, that doesn't change the fact that theists are overwhelmingly created through childhood indoctrination. I did engage Jeff in the comments section on his blog, but he ultimately decided he was content in his willful ignorance and blocked me from further commenting. Feel free to leave him your opinion and check out what I had to say over there. Now, lastly, I just want to address Eric Hoven's challenge to atheists that I opened this video with regarding protesting Santa Claus. Eric again demonstrates the complete disconnect between understanding that Santa is a myth and yet still believing in the Abrahamic God. While atheists do recognize that both Santa and your God are fictional, we also recognize that Santa is a mostly harmless tradition that makes childhood more magical and is eventually outgrown. People aren't trying to appeal to Santa Claus to justify unequal treatment for homosexuals or to restrict the reproductive rights of women or to deny valid scientific theories or any other number of harmful actions. Hell, even if people wanted to teach their children that God existed just as a way of getting them to behave, I might be okay with it, provided that they reveal the ruse at an appropriate time. Of course, using the fear and threat of hell would still be unacceptable in my opinion. Maybe they should just stick to the positive reinforcement. But that's not what happens. People indoctrinate their children with their religious beliefs almost as if it were a genetic trait. That's the difference. That's why atheists aren't protesting belief in Santa Claus. Maybe if people were using Santa Claus's existence on the North Pole to claim that climate change isn't occurring, then you'd get some protests. As long as it is an innocuous, lighthearted fantasy, though, there's no reason to oppose it. Santa Claus and gods are both constructs of the human imagination, and even share a similar purpose in some respects. Yes, we know that Santa is a cultural myth which has evolved over time, that there is no workshop at the North Pole, and that if parents don't place gifts under the tree, none will be arriving because Santa doesn't exist. Yet Christians refuse to accept that we also have plenty of evidence to demonstrate that the same mythological origins for their God, that their God does not exist just beyond the Earth's stratosphere, and that if you simply pray for something to happen without taking action yourself, it isn't likely to generate the desired result. Now, if you're going to admit to kids that Santa isn't real, then do the same when they reject the existence of God, or at least respect that it is a valid position. Please go and check out Essence of Thought's channel on YouTube, guys. He really makes excellent videos, including his most recent video titled Breaking Scripture, Refuting Divine Revelation, in which he takes down scientific inaccuracies from the Bible and the Quran, and even addresses some apologist arguments presented to address them. I highly recommend subscribing to his channel. I also highly recommend subscribing to my channel as well, so please do so if you haven't done so already, and don't forget to like and share this video if you enjoyed it. Also, don't forget that you can catch me on the Reason Secular Roundtable discussion panel each Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. This coming week's topic is going to be the War on Christmas, so be sure not to miss out on that. But if you can't watch live, the broadcast will be archived for later viewing on YouTube at the channel God Works Out. So if you are a fan of Reason, please do check out our website, thesecularroundtable.com, and help support us and the Freedom from Religion Foundation by purchasing t-shirts. We only have one design right now, but we will be adding new designs in the next few weeks, so keep an eye out for that. And as always, thanks for watching. Stay classy, YouTube.